Hey everybody, what's going on? It's Jim. Welcome back to my channel, and welcome back to another Star Trek Adventures Project Manager update for you. Hey, two in 1 month. I'm trying to do better, trying to do more. It doesn't hurt that I have a lot more to talk about, and it just works out that last week the release of the 23rd Century Sourcebook in print. In fact, I've got my copy right here. 23rd Century Sourcebook in print came out last week, and talked a little bit about that on my previous Project Managers update. And today I'm back with another one. Yesterday, Wednesday the 21st, we released the next book in the Star Trek Adventures 2nd edition RPG game line, and that is the Species Sourcebook. So this has been a fan request for a long time. This is one of the books that we had on our development wish list when we were developing 2nd edition. We knew we wanted to do a species source book, even though we tried to pack as many species into the core book as we could. We knew two things. We knew, A, we were going to go a different route from the quadrant books that we did in 1st edition, so we didn't want to keep, we didn't want to have a whole bunch of books with a few species in them. We knew we wanted to do one book with a whole bunch of species and do it all at once instead of having it sprinkled throughout the game line. And so that was the Species Source book. Nathan Dowdle and I spent a lot of time with a very long list of species, Star Trek species, thinking about which ones to include, and this is the result. Now, of course, if you're familiar with the Star Trek franchise and the IP and the property and all the different species that are out there, we could easily fill 2, maybe even 3 books this size with more species, right? There's just so many. So it was a challenge to narrow it down to 60, but Nathan had a great suggestion, and that was to focus first on the species that were main characters, right? So all the main characters from all the different shows, let's make sure that they're all represented, and then try to hit some of the other key species that haven't already been in 2nd edition by virtue of the core book. So now the Species Sourcebook is now available for pre-order. It is a print pre-order. You get the PDF for free immediately upon making the pre-order. It sends to your inbox within minutes, I think, of pre-ordering it. If for some reason you don't get the PDF right away when you pre-order, let support at Modiphius know, and they'll help you out. We are also part of the bricks and mortar program at friendly local game stores. So if it is important for you to order from your local game store, do that and then get the PDF through the bricks and mortar program. Or if they're not part of the bricks and mortar program, send the receipt to Modiphius, the support at Modiphius, and we'll send you the PDF. We do that no matter where you buy the print book from. We'll always send the PDF if you're showing proof of purchase or a picture review of the book or like whatever is appropriate. And that's true no matter where you buy the book, the physical book from. But at the moment, the book is on pre-order on the Modiphius websites, and the PDF by itself will go on sale when the print book ships, and that'll be in April. I happen to have the print proof right here of the Species Sourcebook, so rest assured it is a real thing. It is a real thing and in print. It will be winging its way to the warehouses. It's already printed, so it's probably, if it's not in the warehouses, it's on the way. I know our warehouses all around the world are slowly getting stock. But yeah, rest assured that it's on the way, and it will be street dating in April. So it is on the way. So I thought I'd just flip through this just a little bit. I'm not going to go through it in a lot of detail. I will leave reviews to other YouTubers and other people. I think it would probably be inappropriate for me to review this, right? Because I worked on the thing, and of course I think it's great. But just want to show you this is the cover, of course. Paolo Puglioni did a fantastic cover. It's a wraparound cover. This is the front, obviously with the crew of the USS Challenger, welcoming a bunch of guests on board. And then on the back cover, this picture continues. You see Commander Xanthus Theravic there, and a bunch of the other iconics that we've introduced in 2nd edition, plus a whole bunch of different alien species. So I hope you check that out. The end papers were created by Artur Mosca, and they did a nice Federation piece on the front end papers, and then there's some adversaries on the back end papers. Let me see if I can jump to those here real quick. That's 138, I think. 123. It's a 140-page PDF, which in reality is 132-page book itself. It was supposed to be 128, but I managed to get 4 more pages in there just to keep filling in this great content. So here's the back end papers. You can see you got a Kazon, a Gorn, an Orion. That's Zarakethix. She's one of the key NPCs that we created for 2nd edition. A Romulan, a Klingon, and a Nausicaan. So you get a nice selection there. Oh, and here's the back cover. You want a little bit more detail. There's a continuation in that great art piece from the extending from the cover, front cover. All right, so we'll jump over to page 1. Here's the table of contents. But before that, just mention the credits. I want to send out a big thank you to Nathan Dowdle. A big hat tip to you, sir, for writing up the vast majority of this book. He did all the species write-ups, all the talents, all the key information in here about species. And then Rachel Cruz, Stephen Neer, and Al Spader all contributed significant work on the sidebars and some of the other random tables and other bits and bobs that you'll see in the book that we added just to add more color, add more depth, add more stuff for you to play with as a game master and as a player. Just more things to add to your game. As always, we try to make these books useful tools to help spark your imagination and to help intensify and deepen the storytelling that you're doing with your group at your table, whether it's virtual or real space. Big list of artists, of course. We made sure, well, let me go back. Big list of artists here, partly because, having worked on the line from the beginning, I heard the consistent request to have more artwork in the books, specifically for starships and for character species, right? Like I know the quadrant books, we usually had like 10 to 12 species in each of those books, and we only had so much room and only so much art budget to cover it. So we tried to hit the big ones in terms of artwork, but there were some cases we just couldn't do art for everybody. But one of the key design intentions for this book was to have art for everybody. Every single species in here had to have a piece of art. So I made sure to do that, and my art director Ariel Aurier, and I wrote the art briefs. Ariel, of course, doing most of the work, and then worked with his team of artists and came up with some absolutely fantastic stuff in here. There's some great Easter eggs snuck into the text and into the artwork. I hope you have a chance to explore and check them out. And of course, as with all 2nd edition products, I made sure that every artist is credited on the page, so that if you are a designer or a writer, or you're looking to hire artists yourself for whatever reason, you see a great piece of art, you know exactly who it is, and then you can hit your favorite search engine and go find them online. So here's the list of the 60 species that are included in this book. You'll see it's a wide mix of species, and I'm pretty confident we hit every series plus the movies, once or more. There's a huge swath of stuff in here from the entire spectrum, the entire timeline of the Star Trek universe. Even though this book is coming out just as Starfleet Academy is starting, and we locked this down way before we knew anything about what was going to be in Starfleet Academy, we still got lucky in terms of the relevance of the hologram characters, the Jem'Hadar characters, and of course the rules at the end of the book about creating original species. So we managed to sneak in a few things. I think we did. Anyway, I don't remember if we did or not. I think we thought about it, but we may have already gone to print before we had a chance to really sneak in some Starfleet Academy related stuff. But certainly everything I'm seeing in Starfleet Academy so far, the talents in this book, plus the creating the original species chapter, plus adding the core book, you should be able to create any character literally from the entire spectrum of the Star Trek timeline, plus whatever is in your own brain about what original creative characters you would like to create. That we were really intentional about giving you the tools to go create new life and new civilizations. Just like Star Trek is saying, for the 60th anniversary, there's space for everybody. So whatever incredible character you can imagine, you can create it for the game, 2nd edition, and go off and play with your friends. Anyway, so you can see the long list of species here. I'm not going to linger on this too long. You can certainly pause the video and just look at the list. There's no need for me to go into detail here. And I'm just going to flip through this a little bit. There's an introduction written by yours truly, talking about why it's so important to have a diversity of aliens and alien life forms in Star Trek and in your games, ideally. But ultimately, that piece of it's up to you. You can see some great art, strategic reuse of art, and new art, This, I have to pause on this just for a moment. This is an art piece by Nicola Silvani, and at the moment, as of right now, late January 2026, this right here is my absolute favorite piece of Star Trek Adventures art that we've ever made. Like, there are so many that I love, and I have a special place in my heart for the artwork in the Command Sourcebook, because that was my first one to really work on. But this particular one with the alien species character from Star Trek 6, the one that the same type of species that Kirk engaged with at Repente, and the the plant Philosian flexing their muscles, and poor Ensign Tennant and Lieutenant Hernandez from the Challenger kind of in the background there, dressed up in their wrestling suits. Like, well, what are we doing? We don't know what we're doing. I love this piece of artwork because any good piece of art should tell a story, right? Or have the potential to tell a story. And there's a whole bunch of stories built in. Like, there's a whole bunch of questions that this piece of art raises, right? What's happening? Who are these characters? Why are they doing this? What's going on? What's the audience thinking? Where is this located, right? There's just so many great questions in here. And that is the kind of stuff I want to give to the game masters and to the players, to say, this is what you can be doing in your game. You can come up with the most incredibly wild, wacky things and make it cool because it's Star Trek, right? And this is one of the things you can do with Star Trek, and I mean, science fiction, of course, but Star Trek especially. So why are these two Starfleet officers having a competition with these two particular aliens? Figure it out. Use Captain's Log. Tell the story yourself. Tell this story with your friends at the game table. Make up these characters and just have fun. That's ultimately the most important thing, is have fun with these characters, right? Because of course, Star Trek. What is Star Trek all about? The characters. It's always about the characters. You're talking about a 60-year-old TV show that is designed to be beamed into your house week in and week out. And if those characters weren't interesting or engaging, you wouldn't invite them back into your house for an hour a week. It's all about the characters, and especially an RPG, right? I mean, gosh, what's the whole point of playing an RPG? Is to play a character that's different from yourself, and to play it at the game table, and to portray them, and to do stuff with them, and have fun with them. And the big thing that I'm engaged at when I'm playing Star Trek RPG is what's happening with the other characters. Like, what are they doing? What challenges are they facing? What interesting things is the game master going to pull? What threads are we going to pull from their character's backstory to make things more interesting and more engaging? So, anyway, character, all about the character. Anyway, let's just flip through some of these. So, Species of the Galaxy. This chapter, or this book literally has one chapter. Chapter 1. Well, I mean, it's one chapter with subchapters. But we talk a little bit about life, and then we get into the 2-page spreads for each alien species. And starting at the top: androids, Aurelians, Barzans, Benzites, Betelgeosians, Bolians, on and on and on. And you'll see that the left-hand page of each alien write-up has the stuff that you would expect from the core book. So it's got a little bit of a description, sample values, attribute traits, their species ability, and a little bit of information about their names, where we know it. There was a little bit of challenge right in that section, because some of these alien species, we just don't have enough canonical information about them, and in some cases not even a lot of secondary canon that we can pull on. So we just did our very best. Like I said, Nathan did the bulk of the writing on these sections. And myself and Scott reviewed it and helped where needed. But in some cases we just made a shot, and Paramount was happy with it, because of course everything we do is approved by Paramount, reviewed and approved by Paramount. So all the key game stuff here, and then on the right hand side is where we have the 2 or more species talents that are related to that species. Although you'll note in a lot of cases it's specific species or game master's permission, and that's really important to know, because when you get to the last chapter, the subchapter of the book, where you're creating your own original species, you should feel free to pull talents from literally any species, like the core book or this book. That's 120. There's 14 in the core book, so that's another 28. So 150, almost 150 species talents, plus the ones that are in the end of this book. So there is no shortage of talents that you should be able to use as is, or tweak to fit your new original species. And I'm sure over the course of the game line we'll come up with more, hopefully. But I really encourage you not to sleep on the sidebars and the random tables and the other stuff that we've dropped into the right hand pages on these, because there's just a lot of material in here that we were really intentional about doing a mix of interesting in-setting sidebars that add more color and relevance to the particular species or to what's going on, but also like really specific gameable material that you can use in your games. Talking about cetacean species here. We're talking about how a changeling thinks and operates. In this case, it's the cameloid, but we also have the changelings in here too. It just worked out nicely that cameloids and changelings are both shape changer species, right? And they just happen to follow each other in the alphabet. So, yay on that. There's some nice, convenient little happenstances that occurred in this book to make it easy to make the flow of the book go. Talking about shifting perspectives. The Temerians, the children of Tama, the ones that were in Darmok, right? Captain Dathon and his crew. Nathan did a great job putting together a Temerian phrase meanings, and we talked a little bit about Temerian idioms, so had some fun with that. Like I said, there's also some random tables in here. Let me see if I can find one for you. Oh, there's the here's an exocomp, for example. Oh, here's exocomps, of course, are also in Starfleet Academy. If you haven't watched it yet, very minor spoiler. There is an exocomp in Starfleet Academy named Almond Basket. So the heritage of Peanut Hamper has continued on into the 32nd century. So now we have an exocomp named Almond Basket, which is great. And I guess Kevin from Lower Decks. I guess Kevin, maybe it's a nickname. Who knows, right? Anyway, so we threw in a random table here for exocomps, random complications. So if you're an exocomp and you get you roll a complication on one of your task rolls or something, here's a table that you or the game master can play with, just to add a little color and a little bit of fun to the or something dramatic to the story. So you find some of those sprinkled throughout here, along with player advice, game master advice. Here's a great sidebar that Nathan wrote about photonic life. Of course, we discovered that Sam on Starfleet Academy prefers the term photonic as opposed to the term hologram. Totally cool. I think if I had known that before we went to print, I might have changed this from hologram to photonic. But for the sake of the conversation, hologram gets the job done. And then we'll just make a note. In fact, Nathan made the species ability photonic. So play with pick the term that's appropriate to you, right? Obviously. We've got the Horda, human augments, Illyrians, so on and so forth. So again, please don't sleep on the sidebars and the gameable content that's in here, in addition to all the great new mechanics and other stuff in here that Nathan wrote. Lanthanite, of course, Pelia is the first example. And again, I don't think when we went to print on this, I don't remember if we knew Nala Aki's name yet. If we had, I think I would have tried to sneak it in there, but I think we may have just the timing didn't quite work out to make it happen. But there's always maybe for a reprint I'll tweak it, but yeah, maybe not. I don't know. This was a fun random table here. So Lanthanites being extraordinarily long-lived, if not effectively immortal, as we've seen with Pelia on Strange New Worlds, and even Ake a little bit in the handful of episodes that we've got so far. They tend to collect stuff, right? I mean, if you live an incredibly long time, you just kind of amass stuff. I mean, heck, I've only been on Earth for a while, and I've got tons of stuff all over the place, right? I mean, it just happens, right? You just collect things, and we thought it would be fun. Well, what kind of random stuff is in this particular Lanthanites collection? So here's a D20 table. You can roll on that. There's some fun Easter eggs in here from various and sundry Star Trek episodes or events, so have fun checking that out. There might be even a couple of things in there just from life. So I think I wrote this one. I can't remember. It's been so long. I may have written, yeah. And in fact, some of these items are in fact in my home. So good luck, have fun poking through this and figuring out which of these things is in Jim's Lanthanite collection and which are just not. So anyway, have fun with that. Liberated Borg, Lurians, very important here. This was a not so much a request, it was almost a demand from Nathan, which I totally 100% agreed with. According to canon, according to the episodes, according to dialogue in the episodes, Lurians, such as Morn on DS9, Lurians are supposed to have hair. But Morn, because he's had, if I remember right, it was latinum poisoning from ingesting too much latinum, he has lost all of his hair. So that's why he's consistently bald, except for those like 3 little wiry hairs on the top of his head. However, every other Lurian we've seen on screen, such as in Prodigy, have also been bald. So there was a little bit of a confusion there. It's like, okay, the dialogue is saying that they normally have hair, yet every Lurian we've seen on screen has been bald. We had we sent this draft artwork to Paramount, and we had a very nice little conversation because the question came up, why isn't this particular character bald? And we pointed to the dialogue in the specific episode and said, well, they're saying Lurians normally have hair. It was from a reputable source. What do you think? And so we went with the 70s hairband Lurian with the hair. I think it's glorious. It's magnificent locks. And you can, of course, choose if you're playing a Lurian or a half Lurian or whatever, whether you choose to be bald or not bald. That's entirely up to you. So have fun. And we just wanted to do something different and interesting. And thanks, Nathan. I think it worked out great. Moving on, so you got the Medusans. We certainly included some Prodigy content in here. We got a fun Medusan random effect table in there. The Nannikins. Those of you who've watched Starfleet, for those who've watched Star Trek Section 31, the movie, you'll know that a Nannikin is one of the main characters in there, and I thought it'd be really fun. Nathan and I discussed it. Thought it'd be really fun to include it. Of course, the Deltans were featured in there. I think there was an augment, a couple others. So there's some good representation of Section 31 in here. And I don't have the sketch handy. I may have to save it for another video. But I did a really rough, terrible sketch. Essentially stick figure, because I was trying to explain to Ariel how to visualize this piece of artwork with the stick figure and the little call out of the Nannikin inside the conveyance's head. And maybe I'll do a separate video at some point talking about compare and contrast, like how artwork starts and then how it ends up, so you can kind of see that progression from sketch to finished piece. And this is one great example of that, because like my lousy stick figure, like the core concept was there, right? I mean, literally stick figure with a call out in a circle with the happy Nannikin on the inside, and that's exactly what the artist realized here. Way more better than my stick figure for sure. But I thought that was just really fun to check out. So hopefully somebody out there plays a Nannikin. Can't wait to hear about it. We got some conveyance complications. So if you are a Nannikin and your conveyance, something happens with your conveyance and you roll a 20 or a complication, here's a table that you can play with. So check that out. Got some Nausicaans, Ocampa, Blue Orions. We wanted to make sure we got those in there, and Nathan was very insistent to make sure we pronounced it Orion instead of Orion. So we got the Blue Orions in there. Osnulus, Packleds. Of course, the Packleds, like if you know me, I'm all about the Packleds. So you bet your bottom dollar I wrote this random table. So clump ship components, as we've seen on, I guess Next Gen, although it wasn't really a clump ship in Next Gen, but in lower decks, of course, we see that the Packleds are very good at taking disparate pieces of technology, pulling them together into their clump ship, and somehow they work. somehow they're able to jury rig those things together to make them work. And so I thought, well, wouldn't it be cool if a crew encountered a clump ship and was able to ferret out, like, oh, this is a piece of this thing, and this is a piece of this thing, and this is, all these random things that are, strung together and somehow work. So I had fun putting together a random list of 20 items that the Packleds have used into their ship. So there's some nice Easter eggs in there. Hopefully folks will enjoy it. I went a little wild with a couple of them, but please check that out. Have fun. Remans, Regalians, Rysans, Saurians, Sona, Salaxians, and there's Neelix's lungs. Easter egg for the Voyager fans out there. Terran, this is one more I wanted to highlight for you, just another hat tip to Nathan. The Terrans, so the Mirror Universe, we wanted to highlight those and draw attention to the fact that you can now play, mechanically anyway, you could always do it role-playing wise, but mechanically you can now play a Mirror Universe character. There are some talents in here and some information about playing Mirror Universe species. But Nathan had a great idea. He's like, why don't you take one of the iconic characters and show us their Mirror Universe counterpart? And I thought, yeah, let's do it. And so we picked Kamal, the pilot, and that art brief was fairly easy because it was like, Ariel, we're going to take this character from the quick start and the starter set, Kamal, and I want you to reverse his orientation and change his uniform into the Mirror Universe uniform. And again, you know what? Darn it, I should have thought about this. This is another example of showing you two pieces of art side by side. Clearly, I have an art video coming up to work on, but I want to show this piece of art of Mirror Universe Kamal side by side with the Prime Universe Kamal, so you can just see the obvious mirroring that we were intentional about here. So anyway, we had some fun with that. And of course, there's three different talents here specifically for Mirror Universe characters, and some guidance and advice on playing a Mirror Universe character. So hopefully, folks, I know that there are some people out there who've expressed interest in playing a Mirror Universe campaign or character. So here's your opportunity to go in on that. Valnakat, of course, Vorta, looking quite posh. I thought I think this was the first piece of artwork we got for the book while we were in development, and Ariel sent me this, and I was like, oh, that's one fashionable Vorta. That's really nice. This must be like whatever this Vorta's name is. This must be number one before they start getting cloned and probably start degrading in their wardrobe a little bit. But yeah, I thought this guy was pretty fashionable, so I thought that was really cool and a nice change of pace. Not everybody's got not every species is a monotype, right? Or a monolith. They're all a little bit different, but I really like that purple, and yeah, very fancy. Even the little I don't know if that's a watch chain or something equivalent, but yeah, he's looking very posh indeed. Zahians. All the Zindies. We got all 5 Zindies in here, and there's some great lore in here about them, and some great information about them. Really cool stuff. Hope you check them out. Big hat tip also to Mihal Cross. He was the graphic designer who put this together, did the typesetting and some of the graphic design work in here. He and I had a very creative challenge late in the development process, or not the development, but the layout and the design, where we had all this text written, the sidebars and the tables and all this stuff, the lore and the values, etc. We had all this great stuff. We had the character art, and yet we still had chunks of white space, right? Just the way the layout works. Like sometimes you end up with like swaths of white space that you need to fill, and we have some strategic filler art. But there was enough white space in this book that I was like, we need to do something about this. And fortunately, we were so far ahead of schedule that we were able to really dig into the archives. Right, we spent a lot of time watching episodes, watching the backgrounds, digging through the Paramount art archive, and digging through some other artwork that we've acquired over the 9 years of working on the game from various sundry people, including a hat tip to. I just drew a blank. One of the art folks from Star Trek. I drew a blank. I'll come back to it. But anyway, we found a ton of art and just did some digging and did some strategic research. So you'll see a lot of stuff in here, like the Bar Gold Press Latinum, little incidentals, some of the symbols in here, like that one, and some of the other ones, like that, etc., are all pulled right from screen. It might take you a little while to recognize them, but we did as much as we could. There's a Sona battleship schematic that we were able to draw and put in. There's a Saurian brandy decanter to include it, and there's others just sprinkled out. So there's also Easter eggs hidden in some of those graphics too. So have fun searching for those, playing with those, etc. More species, the Zekdorn, of course. And then there's 3 pages. It may not seem like a lot, but there is a lot of information packed into these 3 pages about creating original species. Of course, Star Trek Adventures is, kind of on the medium to light spectrum in terms of mechanics and crunch. But Nathan did a really great job of laying out exactly what you need to think about in terms of creating a new species. You need a concept, you need your attribute modifiers, you need a species trait, and at this point you've got almost 150 species examples to pull from, not to mention the species that are in first edition, and then a whole bunch of species abilities. Nathan made, I think, like 60 or 70 species, maybe not 60, there might be like 40 or 50 in here, I don't remember, but a whole bunch of species abilities specifically for this book that, if I remember right, are not repeated throughout the other species that are in this book. So there's a whole bunch more options here. Easy to change them, easy to adapt them, if you want to tweak the mechanics or whatever. And then, pick some talents or create your own talents. At this point, there's tons of talents in second edition and a bunch in first edition that we are gradually converting to second edition by virtue of the free conversion documents that you can get off of the free downloads page. So go check those out, and there are more of those to come. Nathan's been cranking on those for, a year now, and we're just working our way through the backlog as we release them one or two a month as we have time and space. And then, of course, some naming conventions. So these 3 pages, even though it's only 3 pages, and you might go, oh, 3 pages isn't enough, you can see it's all text. There was a point where I wanted to include a piece of art in here just to break up the text a little bit, but we were running out of page count, and there was only so much we could fit in here. And I was like, you know what, let's just do 3 pages of text. Just boom, 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 here it is, all the key important stuff you need. So if there's a species that you want to play that isn't represented in one of the 60 in this book or one of the 14 in the core book, you should be able to use this chapter to make it and make it original, make it unique, or adapt the character from the screen to use. Or if you're patient, you can wait for the conversion documents for the Alpha, Beta, Gamma, and Delta Quadrant source books, which are on the way. In fact, I think all 4 of them, January, February, March, April, all 4 of them might be out by the time this book comes out in print to your store. I'm not sure on the timing. I'll have to check it. The 4th one may not be out at the same time, but they're all on the way. Those are, like, I decided to make those 4 the first 4. Spoiler warning. I don't normally reveal this ahead of time, but Alpha Quadrant book will be out. Conversion document will be out very soon, followed by Beta, Gamma, Delta. So you're going to have all those species as well piled on top of this, and those conversion documents are free, so you'll be able to go take advantage of those as soon as they come out. So yeah, rest assured those are coming. So that's a ton more species to play with and work with. And then index acknowledgments, of course. There's the closing artwork, and there is the no, that's not it. There's the back cover. All right, so let's go back to the front cover. Right there. No, that's the table of contents. There's the front cover. So, Species Sourcebook, everybody. It's out, available now on pre-order. I hope you go get it. I hope you have fun. I hope this book unlocks all kinds of ideas for your group and gives you and your group the ability to play that one special character that you've always wanted to play but have been frustrated that you didn't have official content and you weren't ready to create your own, or maybe you've created your own and you're like, oh, this is fine, I'll wait for the official version. Whatever the case, use the 60 species in here, use the rules for creating your own species, come up with amazing species, new life, new civilizations, space for everybody in Star Trek. Have fun. This video is plenty long enough. I went on a lot longer than I thought I would, but I hope you enjoyed some of the insights. So thanks so much for your time, everybody. I hope you enjoy it. Live long and prosper. Be safe. Be well. I'll talk to you all next time. Take care, everybody.